Then let's go back to the news that a plan to crack down on the addictive elements of social media and protect children from illegal content has been announced by the government this morning. They're also going to consult on potentially banning under-16s from social media. The campaigners are saying that the time for talk is over. They think that the government should act straight away.
Yeah, well, let's speak now to a former Education Secretary, Lord John Nash, whose amendment to raise the social media age to 16 passed the Lords in January. Lord Nash, thanks very much for making the time to speak to us today.
Pleasure.
We know where you stand on the ban. Let's first deal with what we've got from the government coming today. You've heard those critics who say that they should just get on with it. What's your sense of what we're hearing from the government today as they talk about changes and to close loopholes in the law to deal with AI?
Well, I'm delighted that they've accepted an amendment in the Crime and Policing Bill to bring in Jules law. And I'm delighted for Ellen Room, who's campaigned so strongly on this, together with so many other bereaved families. And of course, what those bereaved families also want is for us to hopefully not have similarly bereaved families in the future by raising the age of access to social media for certain selected social media sites with harmful features to 16. I'm also very pleased that they've accepted the amendment again to the same Crime and Policing Bill to bring AI chat box into the scope for the Online Safety Act. But as far as the consultation is concerned, that doesn't actually tell us anything more than we know already. One has to be pretty cynical. They brought the consultation, they announced it originally just before the vote in the Lords, which of course they lost comprehensively, with 100 Labour peers abstaining. And they're now trying to big up this announcement in relation to my amendment and the consultation on the basis that it will be quick. But we know that consultations often aren't quick. For instance, the Gender Identity in Schools consultation, which closed 2 years ago, has only just come up with the actions on that. And that was only because we called them out on this during this debate. So we just don't know how long this will take. The Prime Minister has today said he'll take the time necessary to come to the right answer. Whereas they have the opportunity, if they want to do this quickly, to vote for my amendment when it comes into the Commons in a few weeks' time.
Well, yeah, and Downing Street on this issue of a consultation have said that it's necessary to consider how any ban would actually work. And they're saying they've made changes that'll mean that if they do decide to act, they can do that very quickly rather than it being a drawn-out process. Are you reassured at all by that?
Not really, no. I mean, this idea of a statutory instrument, secondary legislation, what's called a Henry VIII power, would mean that they could come up with something whenever, and it could be later this year or next year. I heard Liz Kendall say just now that the consultation will close and they'll come up with some actions before the summer. Well, they just also said the consultation won't start till next month. That means it'll finish. It's a 3-month consultation in June. I know the weather's changing, but June's the summer in my book. So we just have no idea when they're actually going to come up with actions. And this Henry VIII power, she implies it's going to be debated in Parliament. Well, under a statutory instrument, it has very limited time for debate, often only an hour, if that. And it's a yes or no. You can't amend it. You can't add to it. So I just don't see that I buy what they're trying to sell today.
Well, Lord Nash, you know that the Prime Minister has been on a bit of a journey with this. Last year, he was saying he was against an outright ban. Now he's at least sort of rhetorically getting towards it. We heard from Liz Kendall today. But there are groups that don't think a ban is the best idea, not least the NSPCC, a children's charity, and the Molly Rose Foundation, set up after the death of Molly Russell, who saw suicide content online. They're concerned that a ban would just push children to dark corners of the internet. It'll set up this kind of cliff edge when they turn 16. Are you hearing some of those concerns, Lord Nash?
I hear the concerns. I've got a great deal of respect for those organisations, and particularly for Ian Russell, who's done a remarkable job with his charity, particularly what he's been through. But I don't agree with them. What they want to do is improve the Online Safety Act, which is not working. The social media companies spend their time with their lobbyists trying to persuade governments that it should be on the governments to do something about this, hence something like the Online Safety Act. And that is clearly not working. The Online Safety Act is a very long process, appeals, court cases, fines which haven't been paid. And what I want to do is put the onus on the social media companies to say that if you have got products that have these addictive features or these harmful features for children, you cannot sell them to children under the age of 16. And faced with that, and faced with losing some business, they may well come up with products that are safe for children under the 16. We have to put the onus on them. And as far as the cliff edge is concerned, well, everybody, including NSPCC, Molly Rose, want highly effective age verification, which we haven't had hitherto. So there's a bit of a myth about kids getting around this, because there's been no effective age verification hitherto. If we have highly effective age verification under the status quo, we'd have a cliff edge at 30. And I want to just make sure that the children have a little bit more time to mature, so that before they go on social media, they can make better judgments. And this, of course, doesn't stop us having a public awareness campaign, which is also covered in my amendment, and also having algorithmic literacy and other education about AI chatbots for children at school.
Give us a sense of why you feel passionately about this. What do you think's at stake here?
I think our children's childhood is at stake. I think the future of our country in terms of the economy is at stake. I mean, we are seeing children spending hours and hours on these platforms. We see them going to sleep in the small hours. We know, I mean, a friend of mine recently did a survey where she interviewed over 100 15-year-olds, and this wasn't on her sheet, but she asked them at the end, all of them, what time are you actually going to sleep at night? And she said the vast majority said before 1 and 4 a.m. many nights of the week. And they're arriving at school exhausted. They can't concentrate. These constant flickering images are causing them to have attention deficit. And also we have a health emergency. The colleges, the medical colleges have also, there's a health emergency. And teachers want it. 90% of teachers say they want it. Even 60% of 16 to 24-year-olds, those young people who've most recently experienced being on social media as a teenager, even they say they want it. 60% of them say that. So I just think we need to get on with it.